Today on CityCast Nashville, this Saturday marks the 20th annual Music City Hot Chicken Festival. And who better to help us celebrate than former Mayor Bill Purcell, the man who started it all. We talk about the first time he tried hot chicken, the history behind it, and the surprisingly far-flung corners of the world where he's found it on the menu. Plus, he tells us why this free 4th of July tradition is one of the happiest events in Nashville. It's Tuesday, June 30th. I'm Marie Cecile Anderson, and this is what Nashville's talking about. You have been credited with helping elevate hot chicken from a beloved local specialty to a national phenomenon. What did you do, and do you have any regrets about it?
First of all, the critical question, absolutely no regrets. Absolutely none. And my role really was one of love at first sight or first taste. I had my first hot chicken, and literally within seconds, I knew that my life was changed. Anyone else's life would be changed. And ultimately, I began to believe that Nashville's life would be changed if they understood that this is truly Nashville's one indigenous food. This is the one food that was created here and nowhere else on the planet.
So let's go back in time. When you arrived in Nashville as a Vanderbilt student in, I believe, the 70s, was hot chicken a thing? Were people like you eating it then?
It was not a thing. There was really only two sources at the beginning of the 80s. One was obviously the originator, Prince's, and the other one was a place which is where I first had hot chicken called Columbo's Hot Chicken. And Columbo's was located at the foot of the what we now call the Siegenthaler Bridge, but was the Shelby Street Bridge. It was sitting in a building that was within the footprint of what would become the Nashville Arena, in an area that was mostly auto body shops, fire truck repair facilities. It was an industrial zone, basically, but in it was Columbo's Hot Chicken. But in the early 1980s, approximately 1982, I was walking south of Broadway. I had a legal concern, a problem, a worry. I was trying to resolve it. I was walking. There weren't very many people walking on Broadway or south of Broadway at that time. People didn't walk during the day there. If they were walking at night, and they were walking to adult entertainment, which is not something that I did, just for the record. But others did, and there were some minor crowds in the evenings on Lower Broadway, but not for me. So I was walking, and suddenly I saw Columbo's, and I didn't know what it was, and I never noticed it before. I walked into Columbo's, and a man named Bolton Polk looked up from the counter, and he said, "Do you know what you need?" And I thought to myself, I need to answer this legal problem. But instead I said, "No, what do I need?" And he said, "You need hot chicken." And he served me hot chicken, and it changed my life.
Wow. Okay, so Bolton Polk, is that the same Bolton from Bolton's Chicken?
Bolton's Chicken is named in honor of Bolton Polk. There's a direct line from Bolton Polk to Bolton's. And Dolly is a keeper of that legacy to this day. But in any event, that was where I first had it, and I continued to eat it there until the arena took all the buildings in that area. And then I immediately realized that I needed to find hot chicken, and I went to Prince's, to the Mother Church, the original hot chicken restaurant on the planet. And I've been a loyal friend and user of Prince's Hot Chicken ever since.
What level heat do you get?
Well, I'm pretty clear about it, and I it's not just for me, but for you. I would say, were we there, this is a hot chicken restaurant. If you want medium chicken, you should look for a medium hot chicken restaurant. There is no such thing as a medium hot chicken restaurant, but you should look for it anyway. It's hot chicken, and you should eat it hot. You should not eat it extra hot or extra hot or anything else that folks call it. It's hot chicken, and you should have it hot.
Yeah, my brother-in-law, Manish, ate the extra hot when he first came to Nashville, and I loved watching him cry.
No, I understand. I had an experience like that when I was mayor, actually. I had a my scheduler called and said that, and this is what she said, Prince Charles's girlfriend's son wants to meet you. And I thought, Prince Charles's girlfriend's son? I don't think he lives here. I said, no, I don't think we need to schedule that. And she said, he wants to eat hot chicken. And I said, I'm in. And so she scheduled it. His name is Tom Parker Bowles. He was then anyway, a critic, a food critic for The Guardian in the UK. And he was writing a book called The Year of Eating Dangerously. And I like this particular story because it's exactly in the space you're discussing. He sat down and he said, I will have the extra hot. And I said, don't do that. This is a hot chicken restaurant. You should only have hot chicken. He said, no, I will have the extra hot. I said, honestly, I'm telling you, just have the hot chicken to be enough. And finally, I thought, Prince Charles's girlfriend's son, now, of course, married to Prince Charles, who is no longer Prince Charles, but is the King of England. But in any event, I thought even under the earlier circumstances, he probably got to decide what he would eat. And so he went ahead. And I tell you all that because it led to him writing in his book, The Year of Eating Dangerously, the one place that I know of where someone puts down in print that the mayor was right and I was wrong.
Yay!
So thank you for letting me share that one moment of public support from a foreign national, but a good man.
I'm so glad that, of course, you brought up princes, because how can you not when talking about hot chicken? But one of my favorite things about the history of hot chicken is that everyone knows the Thornton Prince origin story, but no two people tell it exactly the same way. So what is your favorite version of it?
Well, my version, and I think it's the correct version, and all other versions should likely be disregarded, because I have it from Andre Prince herself.
Wow.
Was that her uncle, Thornton, was, of course, a lifelong resident of Nashville, and he had a habit of staying out late. And his partner did not like this. And she concluded one evening that she would, when he returned late, as was his custom, that she would do something that would cause him either to change or be changed. And so with that thought in mind, she awaited his return, and he came in the house, and before she could say anything or do anything to him or about him, he said, do you know what I would like? And she said, what? And he said, I'd like some of your fried chicken. And she said, you will have it. And went and prepared fried chicken and added every known spice. I like to think, although I don't have any reason to believe this, some Drano, some motor oil. We don't really know what all she threw in the pan in order to change this man's behavior, but she served it to him, thinking that he would either be transformed or die. And instead, he was immediately enamored with and celebrated, and knew that this was, as I did many years later, know that this was a life-changing experience. I mean, the sad part of that story, Marie, is that as much as we now know about Thornton Prince and his family and the way in which this recipe and this first hot chicken has moved through history here in Nashville, her name is lost. Like so many other things in our world, regrettably, especially from that time, the woman who, in fact, invented hot chicken is lost to history in terms of her name. And so I regret that. And if there's anyone listening to this podcast that believes they have some insight into that, I hope they will share it with CityCast, because it's the one missing part of this story, and she deserves some credit, some important credit.
Absolutely. Looking for a fun way to celebrate the 4th of July? Adventure Science Center has got you covered with Red, White, and Boom happening July 4th from 6:30 to 10 p.m. Celebrate the 4th of July with a night of science, sparkles, and skyline views at Adventure Science Center. You'll get after-hours access to the exhibits, themed hands-on science activities, live science demonstrations, a DJ, outdoor games, and one of the best views of Nashville's fireworks from the Science Center lawn. Hungry? Bring your own picnic or grab a bite from Daddy's Dogs, the Science Center's new Strata Cafe, or Vega frozen yogurt treats. There are 4 ticket options to choose from, including event-only admission or admission paired with a special show in the planetarium, featuring showings of Night Watch, the Pop Till You Drop Laser Show, and Laser David Bowie. And here's a bonus. Parking is included with your ticket. To learn more and get your tickets today, visit adventuresci.org.
Hi, I'm David Plotz. I'm the CEO of CityCast, a podcast network that includes this show you're listening to, and also 12 other CityCasts in 12 other cities. And each one knows their city as well as your local team knows yours. So isn't it time we connected them? Don't you want to know how they're tackling their bike lane problems and housing challenges and sidewalk dog poop crises? That's why I'm hosting a new podcast called Your City Could Be Better. Because it could be. Every week, I'll chat with a different host in our CityCast network about what their cities are doing right and wrong, the weird things they're trying, and the surprising successes, so that we can all learn how to make our cities a little bit better. Listen to Your City Could Be Better on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, so you have joked that everywhere but Antarctica has Nashville hot chicken now. What's the most surprising place you've encountered it?
Well, I would say for me personally, the most surprising place was Hanoi, Vietnam. We were in Hanoi a year ago, and there at their craft brewery, they have a normal restaurant menu, and the number one offering on that menu was a Nashville hot chicken sandwich. But I think for the world, probably Uzbekistan is the place that I think I least expected Nashville hot chicken to go. In the last few months, we developed I didn't do it, I'd give credit to Neil McCormick, developed a heat map, which has a particularly great, I think, application to this issue of where hot chicken is available. And in the world, according to AI, so you'll have to double check these numbers, there are approaching now 2,500 places that say that they offer Nashville hot chicken.
Speaking of travel, do you eat hot chicken before you get on an international flight?
That's a very interesting and rather personal question, I think.
Shall I answer it? The answer is yes. I've done it, and people shame me for it. But
well, it just depends on how long the flight is, of course. I had some friends from Sweden once who had not previously experienced hot chicken, and somewhere over Iceland they had a revelatory experience. But normally I don't recommend that. I can say, I guess, since you've wandered shamelessly into this space, that Princess, it seems to me, Marie, that this is a somewhat shameless program. The Princess had for many years a shirt. It was a rather appealing shirt that had the name Princess Hot Chicken on the front with a caricature of Thornton. And then on the back it said, "And you thought it was hot going in."
See, I need that shirt when I eat it and get on a flight to London. There you go.
Well, see, again, that's somewhat more than most of your listeners needed to know, but we will do it. We will do what we can do for you.
Thanks, Mayor.
You're welcome.
All right, well, let's turn our attention to the Music City Hot Chicken Festival.
Good.
When was the first one, and what inspired you to start it?
Well, it's actually, for me, it's a kind of a fun mayoral story, because we were coming up toward the end of my time as mayor in my second term. It was the year now 2006, just ahead of us. And that was and remains the 200th anniversary of the incorporation of Nashville. It was 200 years before that the people who had arrived on the banks of the Cumberland and overland too in the late 1700s, by 1806, they thought, this is the place. We settled here and we're going to stay here. We're going to make a city here. So we're celebrating the 200th anniversary of that extraordinary moment in the life of a city. And we concluded we have to do something to recognize this. So in a normal way, today it would be not that very different. I sat down with my staff and some department heads and said, what shall we do? And we'd worked together, most of us, for almost 8 years. And so we knew each other pretty well. And actually it was a great team, a really terrific team. And it started quickly, and we decided some things rather fast. One, we should take a whole year to celebrate Nashville. It's that important. We should take the year. In the course of the year, we should make every month stand for something special about Nashville. We should have a music month. We should have a visual arts month. We should have a a faith month, all the things that are important to a city and the quality of life in that city. We were all set. That's fine. The meeting was going very well. And then I said, well, what should we do at the end? And someone said a festival. And everyone around the table nodded their heads up and down. Of course, we should have a festival. And so there was really only one question remaining. And that was, what kind of festival should we have? And at this moment, my incredible team of colleagues and advisors, it was just crickets. They just went dead silent. There was not a single proposal for a festival of any kind. And so I was the mayor. So I said, well, okay, I know what we should do, which perked them up. And I said, well, we should have a hot chicken festival. And then in a classic mayoral moment, this may happen to you in your meetings there at CityCast. I don't know, but that after you make a declaration of some kind, or Whitney does, probably Whitney, the executive producer, that when she says something, you all say, Whitney, what a great idea. What a wonderful idea. That's why you're the executive producer. That's why we follow you all the time. Aren't you the smartest person that ever was an executive producer of a podcast? I'm sure you've said that. So anyway, they all then got up and walked out of the room and said, that is the stupidest idea he has ever had. No one is going to know what he's talking about, and people will get overheated, and people will fall out, and it'll be a disaster. And this is the last thing anyone will remember of this mayoral administration, and none of us will ever be employed again. Who's going to tell him? And for reasons that they never disclosed, but only told me about within the last 2 years, which is a long time to hold the secret. They just simply went along, and we had a hot chicken festival in the year 2007. And it was wonderful. And they agree. Anyone who was there. We had to give away free samples. The first 500 people get free hot chicken. We had to have special people saying, hot chicken means it's hot, spicy hot, not sun bleached or something else. It's hot. You should be prepared for what's about to happen to you. And they came north, south, east, west. The city was there. Thousands of people came, some of them because they knew hot chicken, and most of them because they thought, well, it's the 200th anniversary of the city, and it's a free festival on the 4th of July. Let's go check it out. And the wonderful thing about it that year and every year since is they ate hot chicken, and they were happy. They were happy to have hot chicken. They were happy to be with their neighbors and friends and other people they didn't know, but it was just a kind of a happy moment in a city, in the life of a city. And that's what we've tried to do every year since.
Y'all are about to celebrate your 20th anniversary, and it is one of the happiest festivals I've ever been to here in Nashville. And to keep that vibe going is very impressive. But believe it or not, there's people out there who have never been. So for the listeners who haven't been, shame on you. What could they expect when they show up on July 4th this year?
I acknowledge that not everyone has been there yet, and I'm delighted that there's still a chance for them to sort of complete their list of Nashville experiences. And on the 4th of July, that day when we celebrate all of the freedoms that we have in America, do the thing that only Nashvillians can do, which is celebrate our freedom to eat hot chicken. And that special freedom can be celebrated in East Park, just across the river. East Nashville, it's right there at 6th and Woodland at the East Park Community Center. But the larger park itself is filled with food trucks and all the major hot chicken providers in our city. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. It runs until 3. It's hot chicken. It's Yazoo beer. It's a number of other vendors as well. There's a really fun children's section with face painting and usually a monster truck. And it all begins with a very peculiar, I guess let me say unique as opposed to peculiar, parade. Peculiar parade is at least nicely alliterative, but I think it's better to call it a unique parade. It's the most efficient parade, I think, in America. It runs just 4 blocks. It's led by fire trucks, antique fire trucks, new fire trucks, police on motorcycles. The Shriners appear and run amok. There will be giant tow trucks larger than any tow truck that's ever towed you out of one of Nashville's parking lots. This year, the Nashville composting truck will appear, first public appearance of that very special composting truck. If you haven't seen it, I haven't seen it. You'll want to come to see this parade. Anyway, that starts at about, the call time is 10:30. So July the 4th, 10:30 in the morning, parade, 11 o'clock, hot chicken, 3 o'clock, you go home, take a nap. There's fireworks after that.
Perfect July 4th, if I do say so myself. But let's circle back. What is the amateur cooking competition? Because that's always caught my eye. And has anyone ever come close to the original?
That's a very good question. And the answer is, from the beginning, we thought there ought to be a chance for Nashvillians, or anyone in the world for that matter, to try their hand at this. Because you've got there in East Park the world's greatest hot chicken providers, including the Prince family, but Hattie B's and all the other Party Fowl, all the other folks folks who love hot chicken, 400 Degrees, they're all there. However, in the middle of the festival is an opportunity for teams to come and try their hand at making their own version of hot chicken. And there are judges who then sit there. And of course, as the founder of the festival, it falls to me to have to eat a lot of hot chicken there, which is, is not a struggle at all. But we have a number of other folks who come regularly to be our judges. Usually our vice mayor participates. Brenda Wynn, our county clerk, will certainly be there, as she is every year. This year it's going to be overseen by a heroine of Nashville, Kay West, who should be known to many people as one of the great figures in modern Nashville journalistic history. But Kay West is making a return to oversee this, along with Akia 400 Degrees. So we have had folks that have come close to professionally produced hot chicken. And then we have had a number of people who didn't come close at all to that, which is a little more of a struggle for a judge, but it's okay. It comes, if you've been mayor, you can probably put up with anything. So
can someone who hates hot chicken still enjoy this festival?
Absolutely. Absolutely. First of all, it's Nashville. It's your friends, or people who should be your friends. It's everybody. I can't overstate that, how nice it is to have a whole city or segments of a whole city come together on one day, just simply out of the sheer exuberance about Nashville and something that comes from Nashville. And yes, there are other foods one might eat, and certainly vegetarian options are within the fairgrounds. And then beer, of course, and water. For any reason beer is not to your taste, there's water too, and a lemonade stand, and. So yes, they should come. They should see the parade, and I assure you, it'll be a happy day.
Again, folks at home, it's a free event, perfect for your family, friends, visiting out of town. Bring the kids. Everyone comes out. You'll recognize somebody, I guarantee. And my last question to you is, 20 years from now, what do you hope people still understand about where hot chicken came from?
Well, I hope and believe that they will understand that it comes from Nashville, Tennessee, and it comes from the very best part of us. People in a neighborhood who came together and supported something that ultimately took the world. It is the only thing we export that whenever it is seen, wherever you are, it's Nashville hot chicken. Country music comes from Nashville too, but it's not Nashville country music. It's country music. The other things that we send out from here, and there's many things, it's only hot chicken. That when you see it on the menu, it's going to start with the words Nashville hot chicken. And that, I hope and believe, will continue to be the legacy of the Prince family, Thornton in particular, Andre, and also all of the people in Nashville who have eaten and espoused this, and as missionaries do, carried the word to the whole big world that Nashville has something very special, Nashville hot chicken.
Thank you for making time for us. I can't wait to see you at the festival.
I'm looking forward to it. I'll look for all of you all. Thanks.
Yes.
Thank you, CityCast.
Thank you, Mayor Purcell. That's all for today here on CityCast Nashville. And don't forget, you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Nashville neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell your friends, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our CityCast Nashville newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Toodles!